Hey, what's up guys, DragonRoyZ here. This will be my review for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Ciri from McFarlane Toys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. First impressions, the figure looks really good. Comes with a sword and a base stand, the usual stand for McFarlane Toys. You also get this effect part that you can attach to her sword. And of course, I'm gonna show you how you can attach this to the sword. And I'm gonna tell you something weird about this accessory. So keep watching if you wanna know that. And please hit the like and subscribe now if you're not yet subscribed. Here's the figure up close. So, as you can see, the mold is really good on this figure, from her head to the boots. Everything is detailed according to her character's design. They nailed the colors and even her face. It looks like Ciri from the Witcher 3 game. Let's remove her from the stand so we can see her more up close. If we take a closer look, we can even see her undergarments right underneath her clothes. Now about the face, you can see that it resembles Ciri from the game. However, it lacks some shading. But with this kind of my lighting setup, you can see that the shadows are casting the right amount of details to make her look like Ciri. So I can say that the mold is almost perfect, but if we put light directly to her face, we may lose those details that's being casted by the shadow, because they didn't add the right amount of shading to her face. But with the light on top, you can see that there are really good amount of details that's on her face, from the eyes to the side of the nose. It's really there, but we lose it easily if we change the lighting, if it's pointing directly to her face, because we don't have a good amount of shading. That's why a good shading is important to every figure, so it will be consistent and maintain the details that you want to show on your figure. So that's my only gripe that throws me off this figure. Generally, the overall look of the figure, the paint job is non-existent. But maybe, just maybe, someday I'll try to add some paint and shading on this figure to make it look even more better. About the sword, so as you can see here, it's not flashed fully to the scabbard of the sword, because the base of the blade is a little bit too thick for it to fit inside the scabbard, or the scabbard's hole needs to be bigger. So it's either of those two. But anyway, I'm not going to display the figure with the sword inside, so that's not an issue for me. But you can still flush the sword fully into the scabbard, but you may have a hard time removing it. So the accessory is attached to a hole at the back of the figure, and you can position it either like this, or you can twist it around as you like. For the articulations, her head can look down this far, and she can look up just like this, and she can also move her head side to side with no issues. Just a basic ball peg, but hard to remove. And she can raise her arms up to this point, just about a 90 degrees. Yeah, more than 90 degrees, so she can do the T-pose just like so. And we can rotate the shoulder joint because it's a ball peg, and she has kind of stiff for the bicep swivel, and she has a double jointed elbow, so that's the first joint from the forearm, and she has the second joint on the arms, but it's also kind of stiff. So basically this is how all McFarlane figures are. They are kind of stiff compared to the SH figures that I am used to. And you can rotate the wrist, and she also has a wrist joint that can pivot around to different angles, so you can pose her while getting the sword or whatever you like. Basically the same on the left arm. For the torso, there is no up crunch, but we can use her hip joint, so she can rotate her body and bend a little bit. But that sucks because the Geralt and Eredin figures have a flexible material in the middle, so they can do an up crunch. So I'm not sure if this has an actual joint inside. Her legs can move up this far to the front, and that's about 90 degrees. And she can also move her legs to the back up to just about 70 to 80 degrees. Kick to the side this far, so she can do almost a perfect split. That's nice. We also have double jointed knee, and that's a really good articulation for the knees. And she has a ankle rocker, pivot and swivel, and toe pivot. Now let's discuss the accessory that's included with the figure. So the sword can go into the effect part to this kind of slot made for the sword. So that's how it posed in the promotional pictures, and also the best way to pose with your figure because it follows the natural zigzag direction of the sword slashing through, with the effects flowing through the air. But wait, what's this? So there is a slot for the sword molded into this part of the effect, so you can fit the sword just like this. However, that's kind of weird because the physics of the effect is not right. So I think this is some kind of a design error, because it doesn't look right. So I'm not sure how it made into the final product, just like how they have named the Geralt of Rivia with the Manticore armor, but the name of the armor on the package is Wolf armor, which is not. So that's the reason, one of the reason I didn't buy that figure, aside from that figure not really looking that good compared to the first release. And then we also have this effect part. What the heck are you doing, McFarlane Toys? Anyway, let's compare Ciri scale with the Geralt figure in the Carmoran armor, and Eredin from the first batch of release. So here's Geralt side by side with Ciri. Let's just straighten his head so we can
see the scale of the figure with Ciri, and here's Erdin on the left side, and I think it's just the right scale for these figures as I can remember, and they look really nice together. Let's now go ahead and check the posability of the figure. So basically this is the pose that I'm gonna use to display this figure.
And we're done. So this is the pose I'm gonna use to display this figure. I'm gonna give it an overall rating of 8.5 out of 10. 1.5 will leave the room for shading and to fix the scabbard of the sword. Of course, the ab crunch. Anyway, here are all the Witcher 3 McFarlane toys figures that I have, and I'm going to end the video here. I hope someone's still watching up to this part of the video, and I really appreciate that, and I will appreciate you more if you like and comment down below, and I will appreciate you even more if you subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. That will help me get more views and promote my channel. Thank you so much and goodbye.
For the cockatrice. And we've a new contract. It won't pay much, but I think it worth the toil.
You've been busy.